Rebuilding yourself is one of the most important things you'll ever do in life. It's not something that happens by accident. It's something you choose to do, something you commit to. And let me tell you, there's no magic button or secret formula to making it happen. It starts with a decision that you're going to take control of your life and rebuild it the way it was meant to be. You see, life can knock you down. Sometimes it feels like it knocks you down over and over again. You lose a job, you make a mistake, relationships fall apart, your plans fall through. But here's the thing, falling down is not the end. Staying down is. When you decide to rebuild yourself, you're making the choice that you're not going to let life keep you down. You're choosing to rise up and start again. That's where real success comes from. Not from how many times you've been knocked down, but from how many times you get back up. Now let's get one thing straight. Rebuilding yourself is hard work. It takes effort. It takes discipline. It takes a fire inside you that won't quit. But that fire is already there. It's in all of us. The problem is, some people let that fire burn out. They let doubt, fear, and failure put it out. They listen to the voice that says, you're not good enough. You'll never make it. It's too late for you. But that voice is wrong. That voice doesn't know your potential. And that voice is trying to keep you small. Rebuilding yourself is about silencing that voice and feeding the fire inside you. It's about choosing to listen to the voice that says, you can do this. People often say they want to change, they want to do better, they want to rebuild, but they don't know where to start. Let me tell you this, start where you are. Right now, right where you stand. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment or the right time. The time is now. Too often we wait. We wait for everything to line up perfectly, for the stars to align, or for a sign that we should move forward. But life doesn't work that way. You have to move forward even when things aren't perfect. Especially when things aren't perfect. That's how you get momentum. And speaking of momentum, that's the key to rebuilding yourself. The first step is always the hardest. Getting started is the hardest part. It's like pushing a car up a hill. At first it seems impossible, but as you keep pushing little by little, that car starts to move. It starts to roll, and soon you've built enough momentum that you're no longer pushing it uphill now. You're in control. But you've got to be willing to push at the start. You've got to be willing to put in the work when it feels like nothing is happening, when it feels like you're getting nowhere. Too many people quit in that stage. They quit before the car ever starts to move. They quit because they're tired, frustrated, or because they haven't seen results fast enough. But here's the truth, results take time. Rebuilding yourself takes time. And it takes persistence. You can't expect overnight success, but you can expect progress if you stay committed. Little by little, day by day, the work you put in adds up. Every positive action, every small step forward counts. And over time, those small steps turn into big wins. But you have to keep showing up every day. Now let's talk about mindset, because rebuilding yourself starts in your mind. How you think about yourself, how you think about your situation determines everything. If you're constantly telling yourself that you're a failure, that you're not good enough, then guess what? That's exactly how you'll live. You'll act like a failure because that's what you believe you are. But if you start telling yourself a different story, if you start believing that you are capable, that you can succeed, that you're worthy of more, then you'll start living that way too. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have in rebuilding yourself. It's where everything starts. And just like you can train your body, you can train your mind. But just like with your body, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. It takes repetition. It takes a commitment to replacing negative thoughts with positive ones. It takes a decision to focus on what you can do instead of what you can't. To focus on what's possible instead of what's impossible. One thing I want you to understand is that failure is part of the process. Nobody who has ever rebuilt themselves did it without falling down a few times along the way. But failure is not final unless you quit. It's just a stepping stone. It's a lesson. It's feedback. And every time you fail, you have a choice. You can let it defeat you, or you can let it teach you. You can let it stop you, or you can let it fuel you. And that's the key to rebuilding yourself, using failure as fuel. Using every setback, every disappointment as motivation to keep going. I don't care what your past looks like. I don't care how many mistakes you've made. I don't care how many times you've fallen. What matters is what you do now. What matters is what you do next. You see, too many people get stuck in the past. They spend all their time thinking about what they could have done, what they should have done, or what they wish they hadn't done. But the past is over. It's done. You can't change it. But you can change today. And when you change today, you change your future. Rebuilding yourself is about looking forward, not backward. It's about letting go of the past, letting go of what didn't work out, and focusing on what you can create moving forward. It's about deciding that your best days are ahead of you, not behind you. Because that's the truth. No matter where you are right now, no matter how bad things may seem, your future is full of potential. But you have to believe that. You have to choose to see that. Now, I know there are people out there who will tell you that you can't do it. There will always be people who doubt you, who tell you it's too late, who say you're not capable of change. But those people don't define you. They don't get to decide your future. You do. The only limits on your life are the ones you place on yourself. And the only way to remove those limits is to believe in yourself, to believe that you can do better, that you can be better. When you rebuild yourself, you're proving those doubters wrong. But more importantly, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of more. And here's the thing about rebuilding yourself, it's not a one-time thing. It's not something you do once and then you're done. Life is constantly changing and you're constantly evolving. There will always be times when you need to rebuild. There will always be challenges, setbacks, and failures along the way. But each time you face those challenges, you get stronger. Each time you rebuild, you become better. So don't see rebuilding as something you have to do because you failed. See it as something you get to do because you're growing, because you're getting better, because you're becoming the person you were meant to be. You have to be patient with yourself in this process. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is the life you want. But if you stay committed, if you stay focused, if you keep moving forward, you will get there. And when you do, you'll look back and realize that every struggle, every setback, every failure was worth it. You'll realize that the hard work, the discipline, the persistence paid off. And you'll realize that you are capable of more than you ever thought possible. So what does it take to rebuild yourself? It takes a decision. It takes discipline. It takes persistence. It takes believing in yourself even when no one else does. It takes showing up every day, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it. It takes being willing to fail, to learn from your mistakes and to keep going. But most of all, it takes commitment. A commitment to yourself, a commitment to your future, a commitment to becoming the person you were meant to be. Remember this, you are not defined by your past. You are not defined by your failures. You are defined by the choices you make today and the actions you take tomorrow. Rebuilding yourself is about taking control of your life. It's about deciding that you're worth it. It's about believing that your future is worth fighting for. And when you make that decision, when you commit to that process, there's nothing that can stop you. Keep pushing forward. Keep showing up. Keep building. You are stronger than you think. And when you rebuild yourself, when you rise up after life knocks you down, that's when you truly become unstoppable. As you continue to rebuild yourself, I want you to focus on one key principle, the power of habits. Your habits are the building blocks of your life. What you do consistently day in and day out shapes your future more than anything else. It's not the grand, sweeping changes that define who you become. It's the small, daily actions that add up over time. I think about it, if you're trying to improve your health, it's not about going to the gym once and expecting a transformation. It's about making that choice to go every day, even when it's hard, even when you're tired. If you want to improve your relationships, it's not about making one big gesture. It's about showing up for the people in your life consistently with kindness, with patience, with love. If you want to succeed in your career, it's not about one lucky break. It's about putting in the work, showing up, learning, growing, and improving every single day. Habits are the foundation of rebuilding yourself. And here's the good news, any habit can be built. Any habit can be changed. It starts with one small step. Don't overwhelm yourself by trying to change everything at once. Pick one thing, just one small thing, and commit to it. Maybe it's waking up 30 minutes earlier each day. Maybe it's reading 10 pages of a book. Maybe it's going for a walk or making time to reflect on your goals. Whatever it is, start small and build from there. Success comes from those small, consistent actions that compound over time. And while we're on the subject of habits, I want to talk about one of the most powerful habits you can cultivate, the habit of gratitude. When you're in the process of rebuilding yourself, it's easy to focus on what's wrong, what's missing, and what's not working. But when you focus on what you have to be grateful for, you shift your entire perspective. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring your challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It means choosing to focus on the good, even in the midst of difficulty. Gratitude fuels resilience. It reminds you that even when things are tough, there are still things going right. It keeps you grounded and helps you see the progress you're making, even if it feels small. So each day, make it a habit to find something, anything to be grateful for. It could be as simple as the fact that you have the strength to keep going, or the support of a friend or loved one, or even the opportunity to rebuild yourself. Gratitude is a powerful force that will keep you moving forward when things get tough. Now, let's talk about another crucial element of rebuilding yourself, who you surround yourself with. Your environment matters. The people you spend the most time with have a huge impact on your mindset, your habits, and ultimately your success. If you're surrounded by people who are constantly negative, who doubt you, who pull you down, it's going to be a lot harder to rebuild yourself. But if you surround yourself with people who believe in you, who encourage you, who are also striving to be better, you'll find that your own belief and motivation grow. You don't need a huge circle of people in your corner, you just need the right ones. People who push you to be better, who challenge you when you're making excuses, and who support you when you're struggling. So take a look at the people in your life. Are they lifting you up or pulling you down? Are they helping you become the person you want to be? Or are they keeping you stuck where you are? If the answer isn't what you want it to be, it might be time to make some changes. And that brings me to another point. Don't be afraid to walk your own path. When you're rebuilding yourself, there will be times when you have to make decisions that others don't understand. You'll have to make choices that are right for you, even if they don't make sense to everyone else. And that's okay. Your journey is your own. Nobody else has to understand it or approve of it. What matters is that you stay true to yourself and to the vision you have for your life. Rebuilding yourself requires courage. It requires the courage to take risks, to step outside your comfort zone and to do things differently than you've done them before. It requires the courage to let go of what's no longer serving you, whether that's old habits, old relationships, or old beliefs. And it requires the courage to keep going, even when the road ahead looks uncertain, even when the results aren't immediate. But here's the thing, courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward despite the fear. It's taking action even when you're not sure how things will turn out. And each time you face your fears and push through them, you build confidence. Confidence doesn't come from waiting until you feel ready. It comes from taking action, from proving to yourself that you can handle whatever comes your way. One of the biggest fears people face when rebuilding themselves is the fear of failure. But let me tell you something about failure. It's not the end. Failure is just feedback. It's information that helps you adjust your approach and try again. The only true failure is giving up. As long as you're still trying, you're still in the game. And the more you fail, the closer you get to success. Because with each failure, you learn something valuable. You learn what doesn't work, and that brings you one step closer to what does. So don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to fall short of your goals. All of that is part of the process. What matters is that you get back up. What matters is that you keep going. Every successful person you've ever heard of has failed more times than you can count. But they kept going, and that's why they succeeded. You have that same ability within you. Now, I want to address something that often holds people back when they're trying to rebuild themselves, the fear of what others will think. We've all been there. We've all worried about how our choices will be perceived by others. Will they think I'm crazy? Will they judge me? Will they talk behind my back? But here's the truth. You cannot live your life based on other people's opinions. You cannot build the life you want if you're constantly worried about what others think of you. Other people's opinions are not your business. What matters is what you think of yourself. What matters is that you're doing what's right for you. You are the one who has to live with your choices, not them. So stop letting the fear of judgment hold you back. Stop letting the opinions of others control your life. The people who truly care about you will support you, and the ones who don't, well, they're not worth your time anyway. Remember, you're not rebuilding yourself to please others. You're rebuilding yourself to create a life that's meaningful and fulfilling to you. You're rebuilding yourself because you know you're capable of more, because you know you deserve more. And that's all the reason you need. Now, I know that at times the process of rebuilding can feel overwhelming. It can feel like there's so much to do, so much to change, that you don't know where to start. But here's the key, just take it one step at a time. Focus on one thing you can do today, just one thing, and do it. Then tomorrow do another thing, and the next day do another. Before you know it, those small steps will add up to big changes. Progress is progress, no matter how slow it may seem. Don't compare your journey to anyone else's. Don't look at where someone else is and think, I should be there by now. Everyone's path is different. Everyone's timing is different. What matters is that you're moving forward, that you're taking action, that you're committed to the process. Rebuilding yourself isn't about being perfect. It's about being persistent. It's about showing up for yourself every day, even when it's hard, even when you're tired, even when you're not sure if you're making progress. It's about trusting that if you keep going, if you keep putting in the work, you will get there. And you will. You may not see the results right away, but they're coming. Every action you take is planting a seed, and eventually those seeds will grow into something amazing. So keep going. Keep building, keep pushing forward, even when it feels tough, even when you're tired, even when you're tempted to give up. The only way you won't succeed is if you quit. But if you stay in the game, if you keep taking action, there's no limit to what you can achieve. And remember, this rebuilding yourself is not just about reaching a destination. It's about who you become in the process. It's about the strength you build, the lessons you learn, and the resilience you develop along the way. The person you're becoming is even more important than the goals you achieve. So keep going, You've got this. You're stronger than you think, and your best days are still ahead of you. As you continue to move forward in rebuilding yourself, it's crucial to understand that the process isn't just about external change, it's also about internal growth. We often focus so much on changing our circumstances, our careers, our relationships, or our physical appearance, and while those things are important, the real transformation happens inside of you. That's where the most meaningful rebuilding takes place. Your mindset, your self-belief, your attitude toward challenges, these are the things that will determine not just how far you go, but how fulfilled you feel along the way. You see, when you change from the inside out, the world around you begins to change too. Your external circumstances will begin to align with the new version of yourself that you're building. Think about it like this: you can change your environment all you want, but if you don't change your mindset, your habits, and the way you see yourself, those external changes won't stick. You'll find yourself falling back into old patterns, recreating the same situations over and over again. That's why the real work of rebuilding yourself is internal. It's about becoming the kind of person who attracts and creates the life you want. One of the most powerful tools in this process is self-discipline. Discipline is what separates those who succeed from those who merely wish for success. When you're rebuilding yourself, there will be days when you don't feel like doing the work. Days when you're tired, discouraged, or just plain unmotivated. But discipline is what gets you through those days. Discipline is what keeps you moving forward when your emotions are trying to pull you back. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It's showing up for yourself, not just when it's convenient, but when it's hard. It's easy to stay motivated when everything's going well, but real growth happens when you push through the times when things aren't going your way. That's when you build strength. That's when you build character. And that's when you truly begin to rebuild yourself from the inside out. Let's talk for a moment about the role of failure in this process. Failure is not a setback, it's a stepping stone. Too many people are afraid of failure, and because of that fear, they never even try. They stay in their comfort zones where it's safe, where they won't be challenged, but where they also won't grow. But here's the truth: if you're not failing, you're not growing. If you're not failing, you're not pushing yourself far enough. Failure is feedback. It's information that helps you adjust your course and try again with more knowledge, more experience, and more understanding of what works and what doesn't. Every successful person you've ever heard of has failed more times than you can imagine. They faced rejection, setbacks, and challenges, but they didn't let those failures define them. Instead, they used failure as fuel. They used it as a learning tool. And that's what you need to do as you rebuild yourself. When you fail, and you will at times, it's important to remember that failure is temporary. It's not a reflection of who you are, it's simply a result of the action you took. And the good news is, you can always take a new action. You can always try again. As long as you keep moving forward, failure is just a part of the journey. It's not the end of the story. Another important aspect of rebuilding yourself is learning to take responsibility for your life. Too often we look for someone or something to blame when things don't go the way we want. We blame our circumstances, our upbringing, our lack of resources, or the people around us. But here's the truth: you are responsible for your life, nobody else. Not your parents, not your boss, not society, just you. Taking responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself or beating yourself up for past mistakes. It means acknowledging that you have the power to create change. It means recognizing that while you can't control everything that happens to you, you can control how you respond to it. You can control your actions, your attitude, and your mindset. And that's all you need to rebuild yourself. When you take responsibility, you take back your power. You stop waiting for someone else to come along and fix things for you. You stop making excuses and start taking action. You become the architect of your own life, and that's an incredibly empowering place to be. No matter what's happened in the past, no matter how many setbacks you've faced, you have the power to choose how you move forward. You have the power to rebuild yourself, one decision at a time. Now, let's talk about the importance of patience in this process. Rebuilding yourself doesn't happen overnight. We live in a world that's obsessed with instant gratification. Everyone wants results now, success now, change now. But true growth, true transformation takes time. It's not about rushing the process, it's about staying committed to it, even when the results aren't immediate. Patience is key because there will be times when it feels like nothing is happening. You'll put in the work, but you won't see the results right away. And that's when most people give up. They get discouraged because they expect instant results, and when they don't see them, they think they failed. But remember, just because you don't see progress right away doesn't mean it's not happening. Just because the results aren't visible yet doesn't mean the effort isn't worth it. Think of it like planting a seed. You don't plant a seed today and expect a tree to grow tomorrow. It takes time. You have to water it, nurture it, and give it the right conditions to grow. And even though you can't see the roots growing beneath the surface, they're there. They're developing, they're strengthening, and eventually that seed will grow into a tree. The saying goes for rebuilding yourself. The work you're putting in today is laying the foundation for the success you'll see tomorrow. So be patient with yourself. Be patient with the process. Trust that the work you're doing is moving you closer to your goals, even if the progress feels slow. Stay committed, stay consistent, and over time you'll look back and realize just how far you've come. Lastly, I want to remind you of the power of belief. Belief is the cornerstone of everything you do. If you don't believe you can rebuild yourself, you won't. If you don't believe you're capable of change, you won't take the necessary steps to make it happen. But when you believe in yourself, when you believe in your ability to grow, to learn, to overcome, there's nothing you can't achieve. Belief is what fuels action. When you believe that something is possible, you act in alignment with that belief. You take the steps necessary to make it a reality. And the more you act, the more your belief grows. It becomes a cycle. Belief fuels action, action fuels progress, and progress strengthens your belief. But it all starts with that initial decision to believe in yourself. So today I want you to make that decision. Decide that you believe in yourself. Decide that you're capable of rebuilding your life no matter where you are right now. Decide that you're worthy of success, happiness, and fulfillment. Because you are. As you rebuild yourself, remember that it's not about perfection. It's not about getting everything right the first time. It's about persistence, progress, and the willingness to keep going, no matter what challenges come your way. You have everything you need within you to create the life you want. You have the strength, the resilience, the courage, and the determination. All you have to do is keep moving forward. Rebuilding yourself is a lifelong journey, and it's one worth taking. Each day is an opportunity to grow, to learn, to become a little bit better than you were yesterday. And when you look back, you'll be amazed at how far you've come. So don't give up. Don't quit on yourself. Keep showing up. Keep doing the work. And most importantly, keep believing that you're capable of more. Because you are. The best version of yourself is waiting to be built, and you're the one who gets to create it. Keep going, and soon enough, you'll see just how powerful you really are.